Well, let's pick that back up. So, again, we're in the town of Fairview, and things are relatively new for us. The blood mist has lifted. We are back, feeling kind of adventure-y, and it's time to get back on our feet. Someone is looking after Bill Dowd, and Bill Dowd has not come into town for several weeks, and the tavern owner, Ben, is a little concerned, one, about his silver that he's owed, but two, about Bill as well. I'm sure there is some genuine concern for his friend. How genuine, I don't know. Boy, that is some rustic music. Let me change off that song. We're going to have like a stagecoach chase here in a minute. There we go. He looks at all of you thinking, maybe you guys will take it. And again, this 10 silver, this is more money than you have ever owned. And it sounds like, he needs someone to assist. Now, Forbidden Lands, this is not a game of heroes and champions. This is a game of rogues and reavers and raiders. You're out here, you're out here to make coin and make a name for yourself. You're not, out to rescue folk. So maybe that 10 silver seems a little more interesting than checking on some poor farmer. But either way, he seems to catch the interest that you express to this idea. And he looks over the lot of you and, hey, young ones, what do you say? Will you go get my coin and check on my friend, Bill? Him and his wife, Penny, they're good folk, and I worry that the worst may have happened to them.
Well, we would never want bad things to happen to good people, would we?
Oh, no, of course not. Certainly not people that owe us money.
And how much of that money would be worth getting the rest of the money?
Well, if you can collect it, I gives you half. How does that sound? Will you take half? 5 silver? 1 each?
Aliana, who's been kind of sitting off to the side, kind of like, I don't know, like cleaning under her nails with her dagger, is gonna stand up, put her dagger back in the sheath. Works for me.
Ooh, all right then. 1 silver each, and I pays for your drinks tonight. Have we got a deal? And he looks over at Stan, the biggest of the bunch. Stan knows his way with a sword. Perhaps Ben here knows that Stan was... he's a stocky man, accustomed to physical exertion and combat. And he knows that Stan is probably going to be, if there's trouble, if something happened to the farm, he wants someone strong to go. And so he looks at Stan and you'll be going too, right?
Oh, sure. I always look forward to a chance to test my mettle, and of course I do love silver.
Don't we all? That's why I want to be 5 silver back. You keeps 5, I keeps 5. Everyone's happy. Well, sipping for poor old Bill. But hey, we're checking on him. Maybe he's fallen and broke his leg and might need some assistance. Perhaps one of you, and he looks at Lathandir, perhaps one of you can help him if he's down on his luck, as it were.
Well, bringing healing and balance to the world is my main goal in life.
And mine is to pour drinks. Come, let me refill your drink there. More ale for you, sir?
Wine, please.
Wine? Oh, well, la-di-da. Give me a manipulation roll.
Oh, I'll manipulate you.
You did. Do you want to push that to try and get some willpower, or are you happy with the 1 success that you got?
Oh, yes. Since I didn't roll any ones, I'll go ahead and I'll push it.
That's kind of why I gave you this. Well, okay.
Dang it, I'm too good.
Remember what we talked about?
Yeah. Gosh.
All right. Wine it is. I'll get you some of me best. And he brings you out a nice glass with a deep, rich burgundy wine and sets it down in front of you. And he actually gives a little flourish with his hands as he sets it down. And then he gives you a wink, and you know it's all in jest. He's taking the piss, as it were. But then he kind of smiles at you. And, what about you? And he looks to, is it Aliena? Is that how you pronounce it?
Aliena?
Aliena. He looks at Aliena, and what be you drinking?
Oh, let's see. I don't know anything about alcohol.
Well, do you want something weak or something strong?
I'll say she'll probably want to go for something strong.
Ah, there we go. This here'll put hair on your chest. Well, perhaps not, but it does to the old wife. And then he turns around and looks, and you see his wife scowling from the kitchen. Let me get you something good. We've some fine. I distills it from corn mash. You see, this firewater here, sure to give you a bit of the good feels, the courage before the adventure. And he brings you back a small shot glass with this amber liquid, and you smell it, and it smells like, this would strip paint off of, a barn. It's super strong and potent, and it burns, and it maybe tastes like something you might clean a floor with. It's very, very strong and very fiery. But after a moment, you begin to feel warm all over. And while there's no hair that sprouts from your chest, you definitely feel that warmth kind of in your throat and your chest. It's probably acid reflux, but you don't know. You think it's probably just, this stuff tastes really good and feels really good. What about you, Stan? And he knows Stan. Stan's probably a bit of a frequenter here at the tavern. What'll you be drinking, sir?
Just regular old ale is fine for me.
Ale is fine to me as well, and cheap, too.
Whatever you got, I'll have.
And what about Eolvor? The elf comes over. I suppose you'll not be drinking ale?
No, my people prefer wine.
More wine. Oh, you peas in a pod, the two of yous. Give me a manipulation roll. Oh my gosh.
Oh, geez.
do you want to push that one?
Yes.
Oh,
goodness me.
Wine it is. Fine. And he'll go and retrieve some wine. And then he goes over to Kesh. And, well now, we don't get much of your kind here. I'm afraid to say I don't know what you like to drink. Be there something that I might have that I could get you?
Ale, please.
Oh, ale! Aye, I can get ale. Do you likes it in a mug or in a saucer?
However you serve it, I will drink it.
Oh, very good, very good. And he brings back this wooden bowl, and it's large. It probably had stew in it. In fact, you see there's little bits of stew kind of floating in the ale, that things that wasn't scrubbed out correctly. But it's extra, extra flavor. Be like putting a slice of lime in your beer today. A little potato and lamb in your ale is just fine by you. And he hands you this bowl, and then he kind of looks curiously to see how you drink it. And is he going to lick it out of the bowl, or does he raise it to his lips?
Kirsch will first sniff it, and will tip the bowl with two hands up and allow it to fall slightly into his maw, drinking from it to get the taste of it.
Well, I'll be. I never would have thought it. Huh. You're just like one of us. And then he goes and gets him a little stew bowl full of ale, and he drinks it like you did. Oh, aye. I can drink more of it this way. It goes down my gullet even faster. And
if you don't wear it first.
You see a few people around the bar like, yeah, I'll take a bowl of ale. And a few people have joined in, and there's much laughter. And it's not like they're making fun of Kesh. They're more laughing together. It's a bonding moment for the people in the tavern with Kesh, or Kirsch, excuse me, because they've probably looked at Kirsch with a little bit of apprehension when you first arrived in town, but now this has lightened the mood, and The townsfolk, they raise their bowls to you as they all drink their ale that way. Does Stan, does he order a bowl of ale, or do you stick with the mug?
Why not? Give it a shot.
What's your experience drinking ale from a bowl?
Well, I suppose it's an enlightening experience. Never thought I could do it this way, but it seems to work quite well.
Now, Lathandir and Eolvor, do you dare drink wine from a bowl, or do you stick with what you know?
Oh, no.
Oh, I not only do I stick with my wine glass, I now stick my pinky out.
Nice. Excellent. And with your pinky out, the people in the tavern, they just kind of shrug their shoulders. They wouldn't expect that you would do anything of the sort. But the evening continues on with much joviality and excitement. And then finally, towards the end of the night, Ben, the tavern keeper, comes over and he sets a map down in front of you. And you recognize some of this map. In fact, all you can see is the town that you live in, Fairview, and there's the river, the Wash, that runs nearby, and you know that there's a forest over here to the west, but that's the extent of your travels. You know there's a mountain range, a great mountain range over here to the southeast. Some even tell of an old tower and a lake down to the southwest. But he points up to the north, kind of northwest. You'll find Bill's house up there. It's near the marsh. Old Lake Varda, they call it, is up there, and the Gargan Marshes lie upon the south end. A great boggy place, but it's free irrigation and easy for him, so he's diverted some of the marsh to water his fields. It works well for him, but it means he's got no neighbors, so there ain't none to check on him except us. And so this is where you'll go. You'll head up north by northwest. Find his home, make sure he's all right, collect our silver, and then hurry back. I'll have maybe something a little extra in it for you. And of course, any things you find along the way, you're more than welcome to keep for yourself. And he holds out his hand. 'Tis agreed?
Agreed.
Excellent. Well, first thing, dawn's first light. You'll want to get out. Don't tarry. Don't dilly-dally. It'll take you the whole day to reach his house. But you can stay there. And then come back in the morning. I'll see you here, not tomorrow night, but the night after. 2 days. And then he rolls up the map and clears off your table, rings a bell, last call, and the folk in the tavern began to slowly filter out and head to their homes. Is there anything that you want to discuss before we fast forward to morning?
I feel like Kirsch would at least briefly mention, so if he's dead, what's the plan?
Oh, we take all 10.
This is Raiders and Reavers. This isn't Heroes and Champions.
What say you, Alina? Aliana?
Aliena?
Yeah, you and the leather.
Well, I mean, if he's dead, then he won't be needing his things anymore now, will he?
I'm glad we're agreed.
With dawn's first light, you make your way out of Fairview, and you head to the north. It's a great grassy plain. Now, let me pull a token. This is the party. So you can move. This is open terrain. The day is split up into 4 quarters, basically morning, afternoon, evening, and night. You can travel for 2 of those quarters, so half the day is spent traveling, and over clear open ground like this, you can cover 2 hexes per quarter. So we're going to be able to cover 4 hexes in a day, and that's 12 hours of traveling, and then you'll need time to, if you're going to make camp, and then time to sleep, or the other things we're looking for. So we're going to get into a little bit of travel. To do this, if you double click on the party, it should pull up the party. You'll see like the party members. Click on where it says travel, and you'll be able to choose your what you want to do. So during the travel, we need one person that will lead the way. We've got Lathandir there, and one person who will keep watch. We've got Eolvor there. Everyone else will be hiking. Essentially, you're doing the traveling. The person leading the way and the person keeping watch will be kind of the most important for this part. If you've played the One Ring, it's similar to the journey for that, where you assume different roles. So the first thing we need to do is we need to have Lathandir give us a roll, and this is a survival roll, to see if you can get us there without incident. And I was hoping that the two people who desperately need willpower points would be the two that are going to do these rolls. Ooh, hey, there we go. So if you want to... Now, if you keep that, that's just a success. You need to push it in order to at least have that one skull be damage.
I'm not going to push it yet.
Okay.
I don't want to hurt myself.
Perfect. So that will be a success, and so we're able to move 2 hexes. Let me remove some of the fog here. So we're able to get up to this point. And we're traveling through grassy plains, very clear and open. Now, normally at this point I would roll to see if there was a random encounter, but I've already done that. I need our person that's keeping watch to make a scout roll to see if they notice this event before the event notices us. That is a success. Do you want to push that?
I will push this.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. Oh, well.
You got a success. You also got 2 skulls. So you get 2 damage to your wits, but then you get 2 willpower points. So now you'll be able to power your spells or talents. But you do take a little bit of a hit to your wits. Let's in fact, what is your wits at right now? So you had 5, so now you're at 3. Excellent.
Yep.
So the thing that you notice, I'm going to take us to a different map here. Where is it? Right here. And let me pull some tokens out for us.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. And up ahead, with your success, you see the furtive movement of small figures that emerge from the shadows of a group of trees. Maybe we'll say they're over kind of here to the left of the scene. And with your keen eyes, you detect their true nature. These are goblins. And these goblins are headed in your direction. Their gestures and gazes are filled with a mix of curiosity and hostility. They don't seem to have noticed you, but they are headed towards you. Now, since you were keeping watch, I'm going to let you decide how you want to deal with this, but it looks like there are about 10 goblins here.
Yeah, okay. So Eolvor would sneak back to the party and just say, we should probably move quickly to the side here. We got goblins.
Now, what does Stan, what do you think about this? Goblins.
Well, one goblin is something that I wouldn't be scared of, but 10, that's a different story. I think perhaps we should listen to the guide on this one.
Now, what we need to do is we need to do an opposed roll, and this will be a group roll. So I'll let one of you choose who wants to make the stealth roll, and then I will make a scouting roll for the goblins, and whoever gets the most successes is going to be who discovers the other, or if you're spotted or not. So I think in the rules it says that you use the person with the worst stealth score. So Aliena has like a 6. Eolvor has a 4. Kirsch has a 5. Lathandir has a 3. It's probably going to be Lathandir, yeah. And 3. No, and also Stan has a 3. So Stan or Lathandir. I'll let you guys decide who wants to do that, and then I will make a roll for the goblins.
Go ahead, Stan. I've already done some rolling.
All right.
So you got 1 success. You can push that if you want.
No, that's okay.
And I roll for the goblins, and they got one success. And so I'm going to rule in favor of the players, and so the goblins don't seem to notice you. But as they come walking by, you overhear them talking, and the lead one is saying, "Hurry! Come on! We've got to be swift. That town's not far away. They say it's just here to the south." And you see them pushing themselves through the brush. They're kind of cowering and looking up at the sun. Clearly they don't like this, but they're out and about. And they pass by your position. The wind is in your favor. In fact, Kirsch, that's the first thing you notice is, are we upwind or downwind? You are downwind, so they will not smell you. But you get a whiff of goblin, and they are sweaty and they're stinky. And you know that were there only a few, you might stop them. But with 10, that's a bit of a tall order. Do you let them pass?
Yeah. Yes, Kirsch is definitely interested in his own protection at this particular juncture, and so he would let them go by the group without incident, at least at this moment.
Excellent. What about Aliena? What's your feeling on this? They did mention something about a town to the south. That could be Fairview. That could be your hometown.
I mean, it could be, but at the same time, she doesn't feel particularly, I don't know, super positive about the town, being as it is that, she didn't have a family, so she was kind of...
Yeah, she's nameless, She doesn't have any ties other than it's where she, it's a roof over her head for now.
Yeah. She's kind of been living on the street and kind of doing for herself as best she can, so she's just kind of like, eh.
What about Eolvor? What's your feeling if these goblins are going to raid your town, potentially?
Well, Eolvor's a wanderer. He doesn't really have a home, and if it were 3 goblins, he would happily jump them, but 10 goblins will kill all of us. Mm-hmm. That is his opinion. He's not much of a fighter.
And what about Lathandir? How do you feel about this?
There's little that disgusts me more than goblins or halflings. But I think 10 would just be too much, even as weak as they are. That's just too much armament flying.
Give me a lore roll, and you can add 1 bonus dice to this. So you got a success. You know that goblins are... There's strength in numbers with goblins. A few goblins, that's not formidable, but you get a lot of goblins, that can be difficult. But you also know that they are opportunists, and perhaps there's another way outside of combat to get them to turn aside and spare the town. But could you condone parlaying with goblins? Is that something you could ever even stoop to doing?
No, I couldn't.
Stan, You see all this happening. You know they're going to go raid your town. What do you do?
Well, I know that there are many good fighters in the town. And, they can likely defend themselves. There's not much the 5 of us could do, so I'd suggest we move on.
The goblin band passes by your position and disappears into the brush. And you head back to your journeys. Let's go back to the map. We need another lead the way to continue to journey, and I don't know why we lost Eolver off of Keep Watch. Let me put you back on there.
Would somebody else like to roll?
Yes, I don't know what happened. I'm happy to do it, although, yeah, I'm now at a 3, so I think even bad people who might want to get willpower should probably go first. By bad, I mean 3 or lower on scouting, which I feel like is probably average. Like, Eolver is average at scouting now, is what I'm saying. Well, and 3 die, getting a 6, not very likely.
I know there's a table in the rules that kind of says what the likelihoods are. I flipped right to it, page 46. With 3
Nice.
dice, you have a 42% chance of success. If you push it, it's 64%. If you want at least
Pretty
even
good.
odds, it's 4 dice. 4 dice gives you 52% chance. And then push it gives you 74%.
Yeah, if nobody wants to, I'm happy to keep doing it. Definitely. It's also always just good to have willpower, especially for sorcerer.
Well, I tell you what. If it's okay, I'll go ahead and I'll roll again, because I haven't gotten any willpower yet.
Yeah, go for it.
And they
then
also look fatigued in some respect, given the last loss.
Right? Oh my gosh. Do you want to push that?
Absolutely. Come on.
Oh,
Damn it.
you're so good at this.
Yeah, you gotta stop showing us the right path here. Let me have whoever's keeping watch. If that's Eolvor, you can go ahead and keep watch while I get rid of the fog here.
Hello. Sorry, I had to grab something.
Oh,
Did I miss
problem.
anything?
Yeah, so if you want to keep watch, if you want to make that scouting roll.
Right. I saw the lead the way and I was worried that I'd missed that.
Nope, we just barely did it. So if you want to roll that.
Oh, there's that 42%.
Ooh. Now do you want to push it? You'll take another hit, but you'll get more willpower.
At least one, but I could also get all 3 ones
Right.
and then be broken. It's a chance. I'll push it though, yeah.
Oh!
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
well, you gotta learn that lesson with Forbidden Lands. It can happen. I need a pep talk, please.
Awesome.
The spirit of Reese is with us.
Right. Okay, well, Eolvor, you managed to keep watch. Nothing happens. There's no particular event, but what you do see is perhaps you find a lone tree, and you climb this tree to try and get a taller view to see, what direction is this farm? And from up in that tree, you spot the Dowd farm, and it's off in the distance. You can see the marsh, you can see birds flying around the marsh, you can see the farms, and it's a couple hours onwards. And then as you're getting down from the tree, maybe you nearly fall, and it's quite frightening. You're an agile elf, and oh my gosh, I almost fell out of this tree, and it makes you just you think bad things. This is a bad omen. Things are not going well. There's the farmhouse. Let's just get there. Let's get the money and let's get back. But you managed to find your way there. Now it is late afternoon. The sun will be setting soon by the time you reach the farmhouse.
Also, he is broken. Like, that was 3 damage.
Oh yeah.
That's
So
not bad.
so you're essentially just like, just staggering around. So if we want to try and heal you and to recover that, if it's a physical wound, it's a different skill than if it's one of the mental wounds. And so the performance is what will help to heal you from wits or empathy if someone wants to try to do that, or if we've got we don't have the healing spell because someone just can't seem to get that going. But yeah, when someone's wits or empathy is reduced to 0, you use performance to bring them back to their feet. The subject immediately recovers a number of attribute points equal to the number of swords that you roll, or the number of 6s. Does Lathandir want to try and talk a fellow spellcaster, get him back in the game before he just bolts and runs back to town?
I am happy to shuffle along till the farmhouse, though. Of course, I'm sure you can. He's broken. He's not.
I have 5 dice on performance.
Oh,
geez.
that's pretty good.
I could give you a little pep talk.
Yeah, me too.
If you want to help, that'll give a +1 bonus to whoever wants to do it. So up to 3 people can help, and it gives a +1 bonus each time.
Yeah, I'll help.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So Lathandir, we'll go ahead and do that with a bonus.
And I'll give him a little sharp slap across the face. Come on, elf!
It's like on the movie Airplane. Oh, hey, you're gonna get some willpower here.
Wow, you just insulted
Wow.
him.
Do you want to
Get your shit together!
Hey, you got a success.
Brave.
Nice.
Brave.
And I got some willpower.
So let me give
Oh.
you a
Only
willpower point back here. There we go. So Eolvor's got 1 willpower. And
I only have 1 empathy, so I give no shits anymore.
Look at that. This person's ungrateful.
right? We're going to just have this horrible, chaotic loop where we're all trying to heal each other's conditions until we're all broken. This would be great. But you do see the farmhouse up ahead. Now it's late afternoon. You will need to, during this march, eat and drink, and so we can also do the resource roll right now on your character sheet. I think it's on gear. Yep, on gear on the bottom. There's like food and water. You can make a food roll. Just don't roll a 1 or a 2, and do a water roll as well. Okay, Lathander got a 2 on water, so your water will drop down from a D8 to a D6. And,
Wow, that's some terrible rolls.
No
there.
more water for
Yeah,
Kirsch.
Kirsch's food and water, that is not good. So it's probably a good thing we're coming up to the farmhouse. So let's drop Kirsch's.
Oh wait, did I accidentally roll twice? I think I might have.
Let's
I mean,
I did. I
even
accidentally
one.
rolled twice.
Because you had, yeah, you had rolled at the top, so you didn't need to. So your second food doesn't count. So you should have only dropped 1 food. I think oh no, you rolled a 3 on food. So yeah, so you're okay, Aliena.
I'll do my water
Your
really quick.
Yeah. Nice. So you drink your food and water, and you discover that Kirsch, that this hiking and not destroying goblins is hungry and thirsty work. And by the time you get to the farmhouse, you realize, I'm out of water. Thankfully, these marshes, the water's not really clean there, but this farmhouse has to have a well or some clean water, and so you know that you'll be able to refill that. In fact, if you're near a source of water, everyone can refill up to, I think it's up to 12 on water. And so once you get to the farmhouse, you'll be able to do that. But let's go ahead and get ourselves to the farmhouse. So when you arrive, you see that the sun is setting. There's clouds looming over the swamp, and you see that there are lights on in the farmhouse. And there's a tree near the farmhouse, and there is a boy standing in front of the tree. And this is a young boy, maybe 7 years old. Let me post a picture of him. You see this boy standing in front of the tree near the farmhouse, and he quickly turns and runs into the house. When you're still, 200 yards away or so, 200 meters away. But as you get closer, you can hear sounds from inside the house, and you hear a woman's voice, and she sounds a little upset, and as though she's been crying. She sobs a little bit here and there, and you hear a man's voice saying, There, all is well. There's nothing to be sad about. Everything's good. You have all the things that are important to you." And you begin to feel like you are walking into perhaps the middle of an argument, or the end of an argument, or maybe some consoling. Either way, it's a little uncomfortable, a little awkward. How do you approach the farmhouse?
If everybody's okay with it, Aliena will tell everybody, "Hey, if you guys kind of stay out of sight, I'll sneak up closer, see if I can see any more, hear any more what's going on."
Nice.
Sounds great.
If you want to give me if you want to be stealthy, give me a stealth roll to try and get up there unnoticed.
Yeah, and Kirsch looked like he was just going to walk right up to the front door, but once you speak up, he stops. He has no strong opinion either way if somebody wants to be sneaky.
I'm going to push
try
that.
to be sneaky.
Yeah, they got pushed to there. Ooh, nice. Double successes. So you get right up to the farmhouse. In fact, there's a wood pile around the back of the house, and you kind of stick yourself between the wood pile and the side of the house. You're under a window, and you can hear a conversation going on in there. And it's the woman saying, "Oh, poor Gwendolyn, I'll miss her so." And then the man's voice, Now, Penny, all is well. Well, there's more where Gwendolyn came from. Don't you worry. We've got the farm. We've got everything that's important to us. But Gwendolyn, nah. You best be forgetting Gwendolyn. We've got others as well. Don't you worry about her none. You got young Warren to take care of now. See to it that Warren is taken care of. I sent him out to go and chop some wood and fetch me my dinner. And after I've eaten, I'll go out and get Warren and send him in and finish the job. I'll give him a chance to become a man, as he must. And then you hear the clatter of wooden plates and wooden spoons as stew is ladled out onto a bowl, and then you hear the tearing of dry, crusty bread into chunks, and then set down upon a table. And it's not set down gently; it's kind of clattered down, a little passive-aggressively. But this is what you hear.
Okay. So I think on the side of the house that I'm standing on, is there anything that I can see here, like an animal pen or something, or is that like on the opposite side of the house?
So the farmhouse itself is there's two floors. There's an upstairs and a downstairs. You see there's a root cellar on this side. There is also a small farmyard, and the farmyard contains a vegetable patch, a chicken coop, an outhouse. There's a small pigsty and a path that leads to a small wooded area. There's also a very large dung heap, and this dung heap is particularly foul-smelling. In fact, the odor there it's not just of excrement. There's something else there that's rotten. Maybe they throw their scraps here, but they should give those to the pigs. Either way, something just does not smell right. Now, Kirsch, you can smell it from here, and you know that is not excrement, but that is decomposition. That's something rotting away in that dung heap.
What a waste.
Yep.
I feel like Kirsch's face would make an obviously unpleasant demeanor and then just kind of say, like, casually, like, it stinks. I wonder what it is.
Kirsch, let me have you actually give me a roll for that. This is going to be an insight roll. You're not great at this. You get 2 dice.
No. Yeah.
But if you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly. Let's see. Ah, there we go.
Do you want to push that and take a damage, or do you want to maybe check that out another time?
I think at this point my character, Kirsch, doesn't feel overly threatened, and so he will let the mysterious smell be unresolved for now.
Nice.
He might get curious and try to get closer.
It's something that's going to wiggle in your brain, and you know it's going to bug you until you find out what that is. But you can set it aside, and you suddenly feel the need to drink. Not water. No, you need something strong. And you look at your left hand, and there's a slight tremor in your hand, and you make a fist, and then relax it, flex your hand a few times, and that tremor goes away. But you know that you could use a drink right now. Just it's been a day, and that smell, you just want to push that away.
All right. He otherwise is wordless about this particular reaction, trying to keep it to himself and not scare the weaker skinned.
Absolutely. Now, Aliena, do you stay there? Do you try and peek in a window? Do you return back to the rest of the party?
I think I'll return back to the rest of the party and let them know what I heard.
Okay.
So sneak back.
I won't make you make a stealth roll for that. You had 2 successes. That'll cover it.
So they're talking about somebody missing Gwendolyn? Somebody or something. I don't know. The way that they were talking made me think it might have been an animal? Maybe? I don't know. I mean, there's pigs over there and chickens. It seems a little bit weird to be so upset over a dead pig or a chicken. And then they were mentioning the boy, and he was supposed to be out chopping wood. I don't know, something's weird here.
And dead.
Oh yeah, it did smell when I was over there. Is that what that was?
Something. I do not know what. At least not yet.
Now, Eolvor, you've had a rough day. Your wits are taxed. You're tired. It's getting dark. There's this farmhouse. You can smell food. You've eaten on the trail, but this is what you came here for. How long are you going to stay out here in the gathering darkness before you go and get that silver?
Yes, it does sound strange, but the family seems in good health. They should have the money.
So how do you all propose to approach?
I think
Don't
knocking
me
on
in
the
first.
door.
Yes, preferably one of the big ones. I'm not a debt collector, but I imagine that is what you would do.
Well, who goes to knock on the door?
Well, if we're going to collect, we need to figure out who's going to be Joe Pesci and who's going to be Pacino. Who's going to be good gangster, bad gangster. I would think that them being humans, that maybe one of the humans would be best to make contact.
It seems like if you want to intimidate them, Stan or Kirsch are probably the ones to send in. If you want to try to, use your charms, it might be the 2 elves. If you want someone just to break in and steal the silver, that might be Aliena.
Well, and this is the bartender's friend.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done business with the bartender, and I'm sure he would like to continue that business, but he wants his debt collected. And then, Bill would be more than welcome to come back and make purchases in Fairview.
Okay, I'll knock on the door.
Perfect.
Okay. I will. Sorry, I was just saying I will join you in case
I'm just doing it before Kirsch does.
So like synchronized knocking. You guys get up there and 1, 2, 3, knock, 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 and you hear it grow very, very quiet in the room, and then you hear a chair sliding back and a few heavy stomps towards a door, and the door opens up a crack, and you see a man's face coming through the crack in the door. And there's light behind him. Here's a picture of the man. Yes. Who are you? Why are you here? We don't open our house late at night.
Yes, that's more than understandable. Sir William, is it?
My friends call me Bill.
Bill. Yes, of course, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry, friend. I don't recall you. What was your name?
My name is Lathandir.
Okay.
And we are merely messengers of the bartender that I cannot remember his name.
Oh yeah. I can't either. What's his name? The guy with the big smile. He waters down the ale on weekdays and.
Yes. Lamb for breath.
Lamb for yes. That's it. Well, why is he sending you here?
Well, he and some of the other town folks have said they haven't seen you in weeks, and they were very concerned for you. Oh. And they asked us to pop out and check in on you.
Oh well, it's come in. And he looks back, and you hear Penny say, "Let them in." And he kind of nods his head and opens the door. And as the door opens, you get a view of Penny Dowd, and she is both Bill and Penny. They're on the younger end of the spectrum, probably maybe late 30s, mid 30s to late 30s. She looks older than he does. She also looks as though she's been crying. Looks as though she has had a rough patch, maybe the last day or several days. She says, "Let them in, if they're from town. And the man's name is Ben." Oh yeah, Ben. That's right.
Oh, okay.
Well, why would he send you here?
Well, to make sure that you are okay, first of all, and most of all.
We are better than okay. Better than okay. Our Warren's come back to us. We thought he was lost, but no, he's come back.
Oh, where did he go to?
Oh, he's out tending to the animals right now, and he'll be here any minute. Warren! And Bill says, I'll go get the boy. Let me get our friends some water. We've not much food to offer. We can give you bread if you'd like some bread, and we got water. If you need to wet your throat, it's dry out there this time of year. Come, and he gets a couple of wooden cups, and he doesn't have enough cups for everyone, so he sets them out, and he takes his cup and refills it and just slides it into the group. So there's enough cups for the 5 of you, but not one for Bill or Penny. I'll go get Warren. I'll be back in a jiff. And he excuses himself and pushes out through the door. And Penny looks at Aliena and says, "Oh, please sit down. Welcome to our home. It's quite humble. And let's go to the Dowd farmhouse. Quite humble indeed. It's very rundown. She's probably tried to make the most of it, but it's clear that these folk are very down on their luck. But she sets the table and lays out some bread. There's a small bowl that has a few scrapings of butter left in it. She sprinkles a little salt on the butter and sets it on the table. And you know that that salt that she just put on there, that would be a precious commodity to these farmers, but she wants to give you their best. How's Ben? How's he doing? How's the folk back in town? I've not seen him in so long.
Oh, life doesn't change much there. Business has been a little bit slow for Ben, which is...
Well, it's been slow here,
one
too.
of the... Yes. I will take a dice worth of my rations and add it to the bread that she put out.
And
as
she
kind of
eyes
an
it.
offering.
You've got maybe some dried meat, and she eyes that like a hungry dog looking at a bone. She's far too polite to reach for it, but you see her looking at it and kind of licking her lips like she's probably not had a proper meal in some time.
Please, help yourself.
She reaches out and she grabs a big piece of dried and salted meat, and then she quietly tears it in half and returns half and then puts it into her mouth and chews on it very quietly. And she's looking at the door almost as though she doesn't want to be seen eating your food. Like perhaps that wouldn't be appropriate for her to be doing. After a moment, that young boy that you saw earlier, he comes into the house. Ma, Pa said that it was time for me to eat, to come in. Have you got me crust of bread? And she takes a little piece of bread off of the table. She actually scoops out the soft inside and puts that back for the rest of you, and then hands him the stale crust. And he looks at it and just begins to chew on it, almost acceptingly, like this is what he eats, this is what he gets. You can see he's got sweat on his face. Clearly he's been out working, chopping wood or tending to the animals, whatever needed to be done. And he says, Pa said he'll finish up, he'll be in later, but that I was to make sure that the guests were all comfortable. If they needed anything, I'm to tend to it. If you need any repairs to your boots or anything like that, I can help you with that.
Oh, thank you very much. That is too kind. I think we're okay though.
Now, says Penny, tell me truly why you're here. There's no reason for Ben to send 5 people just to check on us. Does Bill owe him money?
Actually, not to mince words, yes.
Well, I was afraid of that. But I have to tell you that I cannot give you the money today. Not until the sun rises, due to lest coin flow like blood. You'll understand, I'm sure. And I'm going to have Eolvor give me a lore roll.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, nailed it.
Thank goodness. I couldn't push that.
You have heard of this superstition. It states that coin should not change hands on the day that death has occurred, lest the coin flows like blood. And so many, some of the superstitious folk around would probably adhere to this. And so it sounds like she cannot give you the coin until the morrow because of a death that has happened today.
That is terrible. You have my condolences.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad someone appreciates the gesture. Yes, was dear Gwendolyn. She was near and dear to me. And Warren the boy says, Gwendolyn? The chicken? Aye, was more than a chicken. Oh, the livestock is my livelihood, and I love them like family. I assume that a fox took Gwendolyn. Oh, terrible day indeed.
And Alyena is gonna look pointedly at everybody else.
Yeah, specifically Kirsch as he's picking his teeth.
And probably resisting the urge to drink more than his fair share of water.
Now you'll be staying the night, won't you? And Warren says, oh, Pa won't like that, Ma. No. No guests, he says. Now, Warren, you let me decide. These are friends of the locals in town. They're welcome to stay here. I should go tell Pa. And the boy runs off while Penny's yelling, Warren, come, stay. No, oh, these boys. Oh, they grow so fast.
If you have a barn, that would be fine. I wouldn't want to inconvenience you and your family.
She regrets to call it a barn. It's not so much a barn as it is more of like an A-frame, maybe a lean-to that might have a little bit of hay piled up in there. It would keep the rain off you unless the wind's blowing the wrong way, but you think that would probably suit. You've slept worse. But she says, you're welcome to stay in the house. At least you, and points to Alyena, you'll stay here, won't you? It'd be nice to have another woman's touch in the house.
Alyena will nod her head and smile a little smugly back at everybody else. Okay, that sounds fine with me.
Oh, excellent. We've a guest room. You're more than welcome to stay there. The rest of you can sleep here in the kitchen, or you can use the barn. It's up to you. Pretty soon, Bill Dowd comes back in, and he's huffing and puffing a little bit. Oh, what's this I hear that we're giving money away? Penny, you know we can't afford that. We cannot be giving away no money. And he looks at the five of you. Be off now. You'll find no money here.
It's not so much that you're giving money away, it's that you owe money.
Give me a manipulation roll.
Can I lend aid with that manipulation with a slight snarl?
You can. So that will give you a +1 on your manipulation.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a pass. Do you want to push it to try and get more successes before I roll Bill's insight?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So 2 successes, and then 1 damage to your empathy, and that should give you 1 willpower. And Bill gets no successes. So you see his shoulders slump. Penny, to whom do you owe money? And she says, Bill Dowd. How dare you? 'Tis not I that buys from Ben in town and forgets his name. I remember our debts. 'Tis you that seems to forget. Why, you've forgotten everything. Penny, let's not air our dirty laundry in front of these strange folk. And you notice he didn't say guests. And she says, "These guests are staying the night. I've asked the young lady to sleep upstairs in the guest room. The rest have agreed to sleep out in the barn." And he looks at Aliena. Fine. But first light, you get the coin and you go. Do you understand? And Penny
And
says,
Aliena nods.
All right. I'll send William to go fetch the money. We don't keep it here in the house, so no sense searching. You'll not find anything here. And he looks specifically at Stan and his sword. You've come armed into me home. There's no sense searching. You'll find nothing here. We'll pay the money.
Dan will just crack his knuckles in response.
How much is it said that we owe? 2 silver? 3?
10 silver, I believe, was your debt.
No. 'Twere not 10. 'Twere 4 if it were any. 4 silver. That's all that gives. 4 silver and be done with it.
I'm afraid that's too little an amount, my friend.
Well, you cannot get blood from a stone. You cannot get silver from a man who's broke. You'll get 4, and that's the end of it. And you see Penny, she's shaking her head like, no, it wasn't 4. And she stands up. You'll get your 10. I'll see to it. And she looks at Bill. You and Warren stay here. I'll get the money. And she heads out into the dark. And then Bill is just staring at all of you. He's very impolite. He doesn't ask if you need more food, if you need more water. He just kind of harumps and looks at all of you. The barn's that way. And he points out into the darkness. Your room's upstairs, he says to Aliena. It's time for bed. The dawn comes early. Got to tend to the animals. We'll get you on your way at sunup.
Kirsch will finish his water and get up to go with no complaint.
Does Stan, Iolvor, or Lathandir have anything to say before heading out to the barn?
Lathandir will offer to tend to the animals in the morning if that helps, and if it would kind of smooth ruffled feathers.
Good thing Penny wasn't there to hear you say ruffled feathers. Thinking about poor Gwendolyn.
Did they at least get to eat the bird?
No, they think a fox took it, so that's the
right.
worst part.
Well, you can't trust canines, that's for sure.
He says, "Oh, aye. Well, you know your way around an animal, do you? Well, I would welcome the help. Old Warren he's a good lad, but he works too hard. Of that I'm convinced. Now, I'll come get you before sunup. You can help me with the pigs, and we got a goat that needs milking. Maybe we'll get you some provisions for the way back. We've got some eggs I'm sure we can boil up for you. Take some of those with you. As payment for your work, you see. We don't give no charity here, no."
Fair enough.
Aliena, he points up a set of rickety stairs. If you want to go to your room, I can show you where it is. Top of the stairs to the left. To the left, I says.
So Aliena will nod her head, and she's suddenly feeling a lot less smug about being able to stay in the house.
He stays downstairs until Penny gets back. Do you go upstairs to your room?
Yeah, so go upstairs, and I'm assuming there's a door, like an actual door, or...
Yeah, so it's actually a curtain. So there's a curtain over the doorways. There's 3 rooms, and the one at the end looks to be the largest. That's probably where Mr. and Mrs. Dowd sleep. And then there's a small table at the end of the hallway that has a basin of water. The basin's cracked. There's just a little bit of water in there, and there's a kind of an old dirty towel hanging from a bent nail that's pounded into the wall there if you needed to wash your face. There is a curtain that's covering a doorway to your left and one to the right as well.
She'll sneak a quick peek in the one to the right.
As you open the one to the right, this must be Warren's room. Give me an insight roll. That's a success. Do you want to push it?
No, I'll just keep this success. One success.
There's something here that doesn't make sense. This does not appear to be an average young boy's room. It's very tidy, and there are no toys besides a dusty baby rattle carved from wood. The bed is neatly made and covered in a layer of dust.
Oh. Okay. I think, let's see. She's not gonna want to get caught snooping.
Mm-hmm. Not while he's awake, anyway.
Yeah, so I think Elyon is just gonna kind of look, think that's a little weird, and then go into her room, the guest room, and just kind of start looking at the layout and figuring out where would be the best place to sleep that is, if anything were to happen during the night, she would have the best chance of getting away.
So there is not a window in this room. There was a window in Warren's room, and remembering the layout of the outside of the house, there's probably one in Mr. and Mrs. Dowd's room. But this room has no window. The only way out is through the doorway. The floor is, it's in a state of disrepair. Like, you look down, like, there's light coming up through the slats in the floor. Worst case, you could probably, like, rip up a floorboard or two and probably slip down through the floor. If that might be your emergency escape. And you look up at the roof and you can see the underside of the shakes, just the thin wooden shingles that are there. You could probably punch your way through there if you had to get out, if there's a fire or something. But otherwise, you feel a little uncomfortable because you are essentially trapped in this room unless you effort your way out. The room is essentially bare. There is, you could call it a bed. It's a small wooden frame, and there's rope strung almost like a net, and there are blankets laying on it. If you get into that bed, it's going to sag quite a bit. It's essentially a hammock with a little wooden frame, and it smells bad. Smells musty and old, and clearly they don't get many guests. This has probably not been slept in quite some time. But the blankets in here are clean. They're not dusty. The room's not dusty. There is a small wooden crate near the bed where if you needed to set anything on the crate, like a small end table kind of thing. But that's it. There's not much in here. There's not even a candle in here if you needed light.
Okay. So I guess Aliena will just kind of try to make herself as comfortable as possible, like in a position where she can see the doorway.
Yeah. But do you close that curtain completely? Do you leave it open just enough that you can kind of peer out of there? And where you're laying in the room, where your head is, you're up against the north wall, and on the other side of that wall is the master bedroom.
Uh-oh. Did you cut out?
Oh, can you hear me?
I just heard that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So your head is kind of facing, or is towards and butting up against the north wall, and the other side of that wall is going to be the master bedroom.
You cut out again.
Uh-oh. Did you hear any of that?
I just heard the other side of that wall, and then you just dropped off.
So the other side of that wall is the master bedroom.
Okay. I'm trying to think, what else could she do to kind of prepare? This is not necessarily the greatest position to be in.
Yeah, you're in a bad spot.
These people are weird.
Yeah. The other fellas, they're in a better spot sleeping out in the barn. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Aliena's probably not getting any sleep.
Do you sleep with your knife? Do you keep it with you?
Yes.
Okay. After a moment of lying down and kind of getting settled, you hear the door open and in comes Penny. And you hear a little bit of a hushed argument. The walls are so thin, you hear everything though. And they're talking about, we can't afford to give this coin away, and we will pay our debts. I know, Ben, he's a good man, we'll pay him. I don't know why you insist on shortchanging the folk in town that have taken care of us. He's like, well, times are different, times are hard, we need that money, we can't give him. Just give him the 4. William Dowd, we will not, we'll give him the 10. And you hear his chair scoot as he slides it back, and he stands up, and she says, you will not hit me. You will not, sir. And then you hear him sit back down in the chair. Now, I'm going to bed. You'd be best if you come to bed as well. Call Warren in. Get him in here. See that he's asleep before you are. Otherwise, there'll be hell to pay. This happens far too often. Get that boy in bed. I'm going to go and write in my book. And then you hear her gently pad up the stairs. And as she goes past your curtain, she pauses, and through that little crack you've left, you see her face, and she's looking in at you, and you see a little faint smile on her face. And she stares for an uncomfortable few seconds. Almost like she's just looking like, oh, it's so wonderful to have someone here. Or like, oh, I can't wait to, the horrible things we're going to do to this person when they're asleep. You don't know which one it is. But then you hear her go in her room, and you can, through the wall, you can hear the scratching of a quill on parchment. Let's go to the fellows outside. As you guys leave the farmhouse, you're outside. It's dark. You can hear some of the animals as they're bedding down. That smell from the dung heap is bad. The wind has changed, and it's blowing across through the farm. You know you're going to smell it all night in that barn. What is Iolvor doing? You head to the barn? Do you do anything else while you're here? Any snooping?
No, he's looking for a pretty good rest. I think he would have been keen to get to that barn.
Yeah, you've had a hell of a day. The barn is actually quite comfortable. It's dry. The straw that's in the barn, the bedding is nice. You know you're going to sleep well. You've got the breeze, what faint stars you can see through gaps in the clouds. There's just that smell, but you know what? It's been worse. Maybe just put Kirsch, upwind of you, and you'll just smell Kirsch all night. What about Lethandir? What are you doing?
Lathandir is troubled. He will say, I know this is our first real adventure out of our hometown and everything, he said, but I've got this feeling that maybe we shouldn't have split the party.
See how easy that was for me to split the party too?
Yeah, I mean, we're not experienced, but that doesn't seem like a good idea. And he's also he has a niggling in the back of his mind, and he asked the others, did you notice that Bill and Warren both had keys tied around their necks? What farmer living out here has a lock? What do those keys go to? That's just weird.
I feel like Kirsch would be, having not noticed those keys, it's definitely not his strong suit and was probably more interested in the water at the time. Probably like just kind of dumbfounded and was like, what keys? Making that sort of face.
Kirsch, as this conversation is going on, you can hear a rattling sound. And your ears perk up and you turn and you're almost, pointing. You're pointing your face in the direction of that rattling sound. It's coming from that root cellar.
Is it a sound currently, or is there also any sort of distinct smell?
There's the only distinct smell is that dung heap, but that sound, it could be the wind rattling the door, but it sounds different. There was no gust of wind, and you hear the rattle, then the wind gusts, the rattle doesn't change, and then the rattling stops.
I feel like Kirsch would walk over to the source of the sound and let the fact that he's paying attention to it perhaps be something that the rest present will perhaps notice as well.
Are you trying to be stealthy?
No.
As you walk over, you see that there is a padlock on the root cellar. Big iron padlock. This thing is expensive. This would cost a lot of money.
Strange.
And it doesn't take a genius to realize that the key that Lathandir was talking about probably goes to this padlock.
Aha!
Well, there's your problem.
The other thing that you notice when you're out here, give me an insight roll.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Not the best at it, but we'll see what happens.
Nice. You asked about smells earlier, and there was no new smell, but there's a smell that's missing. You don't smell Warren, and he was supposed to be out here on the farm tending to the animals or chopping wood. You don't smell him, and then you see the lights go off in the house.
Warren was not here.
Something's going on.
Now, Stan, what do you do as you leave the house and head towards the barn? You see Eolver go and, claim the best spot in the straw. You see Kirsch and Lathandir heading towards the cellar, and Kirsch is kind of sniffing around in the air. What does Stan do?
Well, Stan's had a long day of travel, so I think he's just going to stake out the next best spot in the little barn area.
Now, are you the big spoon or the little spoon?
He's definitely going to turn his back to everyone.
Nice. So back to back with Eolver. So a moon landing, I think is what that's called. So
those aren't pillows.
So,
Kirsch is a pillow, but a sharp one.
Right. Everyone's all snuggled up to Kirsch. You find a comfortable spot, and as you sleep, you just you realize this is the first night you've ever spent away from Fairview. You've never slept anywhere but there, and it feels weird, but it also feels liberating. And you realize that this adventuring life, this is for you. That if you can have more days of this, of hard walks and finding new places and meeting new people and sleeping under the stars, even if it's in a barn, this is one of the greatest days you've ever had. And as you drift off to sleep, you can't wait to see what tomorrow might bring. Let's go back to Kirsch and Lathandir. So you're standing outside the cellar. You can see this big padlock. That rattling sound has stopped. And Warren is nowhere to be found. And it seems as though the household is going to sleep.
I mean, Kirsch is no locksmith by any means, and so I feel like unless prodded to do so, he would likely not press this further at the moment.
Sure would be nice if we had a rogue out here.
She's upstairs scared for her life.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Can I give this lock a crack?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That'd be sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand.
Yeah, and I feel like Kirsch would not be able to lend aid because he does not have the skill.
Yeah, and there's really nothing there that you can help with. You got it.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm also going to push it. I had no.
Oh.
So you succeed. What you do is you come at this using your wits, and you realize, you know what, this lock is strong, but this latch that holds the lock in place, those are just nails. And you actually start to pry those nails out. The lock is still locked, but you get the latch off of the door frame, and then the door can swing wide open. And as you pull open the door, you are startled by a rat that quickly scurries between your legs, looks up at Kirsch, eyes black and beady, and then scampers off into the darkness. And Kirsch, you almost have this moment of, I'm a pursuit predator. I should chase that thing, but it's a stinking rat. It was probably trying to get out and was scrabbling at the door. But that rat scurries out into the weeds.
I feel like Kirsch's body language would be to kind of like turn in the direction of the rat, kind of stomp his foot and lean forward as if he was going to, but resist the urge, as a rat is not a good meal.
Do you head down into the cellar?
Oh, I don't think we could help ourselves.
And I doubt he's going to go alone.
We gotta know. Let's go back and tell the others. A three-way split in the party is just asking for it.
As you go down into the cellar, there's no light. I'll assume you have a lantern or a candle, or you would have something if you're traveling. You get it lit, and as you start to peer around, you see that this cellar should hold food. There's no food in here. There's just smashed bottles, crates that have been ripped open. It looks like the rats have had a feast in here. They've eaten everything. You even see that there is blood and white feathers leading from the door all the way down the steps into the cellar. And then down in one corner of the cellar, you see bones that have been cracked open and the marrow sucked out of them. Next to another large pile of feathers, the chicken's feet, and the head.
I assume that's Gwendolyn.
That's probably Gwendolyn. And as you're looking at this, and you look at each other, the cellar door suddenly slams. And it slams shut. Let's go back to Alietta. You are in the house. You hear Warren come up the stairs. He's got a candle. As he reaches your room, he pauses, And he's not looking in your room, but he's just standing outside. You can see almost his silhouette from the candlelight as he stands there, and his head seems to get closer. He's listening for the sound of snoring, breathing, and he pauses for a good 30 seconds. And then he takes a few more steps and goes in and says, "Penny, Warren's asleep. Let's go to bed. Put your book away. You've been writing enough." And the light goes out in the house as he blows out the candles. And then you hear the springing of the bed frame creaking as the ropes stretch as they climb into their bed. And pretty quickly you hear sobbing and crying. It's Penny. And then he says, There, Penny. It's all right. Count your blessings. We've a fine son. We'll get another chicken." And then you hear her say, "Oh, okay." And then he says, "I don't know about giving them the money tomorrow. It just don't feel right. But that's a problem for tomorrow, not for today. Get some rest. You'll need your energy tomorrow. There's much work to be done." And then it grows quiet. Eliana, you are awake in a quiet house. It's dark. It's still. What do you do?
I think at this point I will kind of creep up close to the curtain.
To their room?
Yeah.
That will be a stealth roll. Give yourself a bonus die, because they're most likely asleep, and you have the cover of darkness. Oh, yeah. All right. 4 successes. You nailed it. With those successes and with the darkness, if you wanted to move that curtain aside, you could gain access to that room.
Alright, yeah, she'll kind of move the curtain aside and look out into the little hallway, and then if there's nothing there, like if she can't see anything, she'll move into the hallway.
Yeah, the hallway seems clear.
And then she'll look in Warren's room.
It's just as you left it. Dusty, dust on the bed. Warren's not there. An old wooden rattle covered in dust on the floor.
So she's gonna get, like, you know that look that people get on their face when something doesn't really make sense? It's kind of like that, what?
Uh-huh.
Like, and she's, like, not saying it out loud, but just kind of talking to herself, like, really, really under her breath. What is going on here? And then, she'll... I guess she'll kind of go into Warren's room.
Okay.
And start looking around.
Now there is a window in Warren's room, and with the moonlight that's coming in, you can see a little bit. Your eyes are dark adjusted, and there's no clothes other than a few cloth diapers that are also covered in dust. There's no shoes other than a set of small sandals that would be appropriate for a baby. These are sackcloth and leather straps, just little booties for a baby to wear on their feet. There's no other memorabilia, no other toys or trinkets, nothing. It's like this room has been untouched for quite some time.
Kind of getting the idea that something is very wrong here.
I think that's fair. Definitely.
I think Eliana is gonna kind of creep back out into the hallway and try to go down the stairs as quietly as she can.
So with your 4 successes, absolutely. You notice step not in the center of the stair, but closest to where it's nailed into the stair frame. And it makes the least amount of noise. And as you slowly creak down, just a few steps before the bottom, you hear a loud clapping sound. It's the cellar door banging shut outside. And you pause, and you're looking through the windows. It was definitely coming from outside. It's not in the house. You don't hear any sounds coming up the stairs behind you. Whatever that was, it's not repeated, seems to go away.
Okay. So I'll slip out the door, kind of looking around to see if I see anything in the moonlight.
It looks like you see some bodies snuggled up in the straw under the A-frame. The animals are bedded down and asleep. You can see some of the chickens up in a little roost inside a small chicken hutch. The clouds billowing overhead remind you of the blood mist. That's all you've known until recently. And as you're out here at night in a strange place, it strikes you, just as it struck Stan, that this is your first time being away from home like this. And home has always meant something different to you than it has everyone else. And you kind of like this. You kind of like this, the wildness of being outside. You only notice now there are only 2 bodies in the barn. Looks like Stan and Eolvor. Where Kirsch and Lathandir are, you don't know. You also don't know where Warren is.
Okay. So I'll kind of looking around once more just to see if I see anything moving. Kind of crouch run to the barn.
On your way over there, you don't see any movement, but there's that smell, that stink again. It's not just animal excrement, and it's something rotting. You've smelled death before, and that's the smell of something dead.
And so cover her mouth and nose with her hand as she's running past them. It's not going to do much to help, but it's just kind of that unconscious.
Yeah. You would cover it just for your own sanity. You reach the barn and you see Stan and Eolver. It looks like they might have started out back to back, but now they're snuggled up for warmth. And Eolver's probably like sucking on his thumb or something. No one would know he does this, but no one's ever watched him sleep before. But there he is, this proud elf. Sucks his thumb still.
And trying to not appear too out of sorts, Aliena's gonna kick both of them. Like, oh, look at you two.
Nice. And they kind of snort, what? And they sort of push each other away, give each other a look, and it's like, how did that happen? It's only been like 10 minutes, and already they're getting comfortable. It's little. There's a chill in the air. But you notice that Kirsch and Lathandir are missing.
Yeah. Where are the other two? Where's Kirsch and Lathandir?
That is a good question. Would have thought they'd be back by now.
And then I'll probably think back to I heard it sounded like something slamming. Maybe
It wasn't the house door, but you do recall the root cellar. Perhaps it was that root cellar door.
Yeah. Did they? Don't tell me they went to the root cellar.
It does feel rude to intrude on a stranger's home like this, but, well...
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there is something really weird going on here. I don't know what it is, but that lady's giving me weird looks. That kid's not in his bed. Doesn't look like anybody's been in that kid's bed for I don't even want to think how long. And Yeah, there's just, I don't know, something really off about this place.
Let's go back to Kirsch and Lathandir. So the door swings shut, and there's a rushing of air coming down into the cellar that actually extinguishes your candle. Do you try to get that lit, or do you try to get out?
I feel like Kirsch would probably try to leave this place, as the way out is kind of clearly behind us. Perhaps at some stairs, but a candle's probably not good to fight in combat with anyway.
Nope.
That's what he would try to do.
What about Lathandir? Are you back, Craig?
Oh my gosh, I was muted. I just
Oh,
said
shoot.
some of the most brilliant shit you ever heard.
No.
Lathandir is going to make a very feminine sound when the lights go out, and I'm going to turn and just run right into the front of Crash in my attempt to get the hell out of here.
Do you like jump up into his arms, and he's holding you?
Yes. Yes, and we are going to GTFO.
Kirsch, as you begin to sprint up the stairs carrying Lathandir like a groom taking the bride over the threshold, you storm up these wooden reinforced carved steps in the dirt. You hit the door, and do you hit it like just bash into it to knock it open, or do you go quietly?
Oh my goodness, I mean, I don't think he'd be subtle in this particular instance, so I feel like he'd use his might to try to maybe shoulder through if the door doesn't seem like it would open. I feel like if it closes on its own, like, I don't know if he'd trust just opening the door casually.
Yeah, give me a move roll.
Move, okay.
Nailed it. Perfect. You charge up, you hit that door, and it springs open. You're expecting to find, maybe Bill Dowd there with a hatchet or an axe, or maybe Penny. Maybe she's the killer among you. But all there is the still, quiet air and the night sounds of the farm, and whatever shut that door is gone.
Feel like Kirsch would kind of look around.
Still holding Lathandir.
At least for a moment, yeah. His first immediate interest is like his own safety, making sure there's really nothing there. Perhaps longer than Lathandir would feel comfortable, and so if Lathandir has any reactions,
I think. He's twirling a finger in your hair.
I will get out of his arms, and I will straighten my robes up and act as if, well, that was just ridiculous.
We will never talk about this again.
What happens in the root cellar stays in the root cellar.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's right.
Exactly.
You look over and you see Stan and Eolver sitting up, and kind of crouched down next to them. You see Aliena, and they're looking at you like, what the hell was that? As you come bursting out of the root cellar holding Lathandir. You have kind of an awkward moment where you head back and meet up, and you guys can reconvene in the barn. I'll let you guys go ahead and do that and decide what to do now. What's your next step?
I want to go home.
Yeah, this whole business of let's go spend a night away from town, this has not gone well for you at all.
This is just messed up.
Yeah, you've, you're almost broken. It's been a hell of a day, and yet here you are. So how do you proceed from this?
This whole thing gives me I See Dead People and Pet Cemetery vibes. Something's going on.
And Oleana's like, yeah, no shit. And she'll kind of shudder, just thinking of the creepy way that Penny looked at her through the curtain.
If she comes out dressed like a clown, heaven help us all.
Maybe we could just burn it.
I was insulted a lot.
Gosh, I feel like in this instance, Kirsch is not quite yet deterred. He is like interested in trying to figure out what exactly may be in that root cellar, but now that he's up top, I feel like his curiosity has returned to that like rotten smell.
Yeah, do you want to go poke around in there?
Oh.
Yes, I feel like Kirsch has finally lost his patience or will to resist his curiosity.
You head over to the dung heap, and you're just kind of looking at first, almost with revulsion, and then in the moonlight, you see something sparkling, something shiny. There's something in there. It's pretty entrenched in the muck. This will take a wits roll, or you could just take 2 damage to your wits to dig this out of the muck.
Gosh. The character doesn't have more than 2 wits to spare on a good day.
Can I poke it with my spear?
You can. Yeah, do you want to poke it?
Or like, yeah, let's poke it with my spear. Maybe light the lantern back up and stack the odds in our favor here.
So if you want to use your spear to kind of dig it out, that would be like aiding someone. That would give a bonus to that. If you're the active party with the spear, you can make the wits roll if you want. Your wits is quite a bit higher.
Yeah, that would give me like 5.
Yep. And then you would add a bonus die to that for the help.
Okay. Be ready. Ready for anything.
Got it. Do you want to push it? You got the successes, but do you want to get some more willpower?
Hell yeah.
All right. So you got 2 more willpower, take 2 damage to your wits. But the good news is if you get a full night's rest coming up here, you'll get all that stuff back and keep the willpower.
Yeah.
So you poke around in there and you actually almost lose your lunch as you start digging, and then you see what that shiny thing is. It's a gold ring, and it is still attached to a hand. And the hand has been severed just below the wrist. And there's something about that ring that looks really familiar. And you think
Bill had a ring.
Yes, he did, and it looks just like this ring.
Son of a bitch.
And you look up at the house and think, that's not Bill Dowd.
Can I make like a lore roll or something to see if I know what my... I mean, I'm not going to say doppelganger.
Right.
Because that's meta. I wouldn't know what a doppelganger was, but something's going on.
So you know that there are you don't know. You have heard there are a great many terrible things out in the wild. And one of the greatest fears that people have is that of a demon. Now, a demon can take any form, and villagers blame them for all kinds of inexplicable mischief. Some claim that not all demons are bloodthirsty, but a few stick around to explore their potential virtues. Essentially, the term demon just means any creature foreign to the world, whether summoned here by a spell or having arrived through a so-called nexus, a gate between worlds. So this is your initial thought, is this has got to be a demon, because what else would do this? But you also know that there are stories of things called changelings, essentially a doppelganger, something that can take on the appearance of someone else and will essentially push that person out of the picture, usually by killing them, and then take their place. For whatever purpose, who knows? whether it's for monetary gain or power or just morbid curiosity. You don't know whether that's a demon or a changeling, but that's not Bill Dowd upstairs. And then,
One thing I do know is that that's gold down there on the ground.
and one thing that
So
you,
can I?
yeah, you can take that ring.
Okay.
You
How
have-
much is that?
So you have to pull that off of that finger, and the finger is so swollen, you're actually going to have to either carve it off or break the finger and pull it off that way. How do you get that off?
I'm gonna hand it to Crash.
Of course,
It's
you
like-
give it to me.
Do you gnaw it off?
That's got to be at least one ration die right there.
Yeah, I feel like Kirsch would do that. He feels like otherwise they might call him a coward, and so I feel like he's gonna try to show off.
Eliana would do it, but we'd never see the ring again.
So you put your mouth on that ring and pull. Is that what you do?
Yes, begrudgingly.
You hear a popping sound as the finger dislocates, and then the tearing of rancid flesh as the finger comes off in your mouth. You throw the hand down, and you feel this sort of pus and sludge texture in your mouth, and it's liquefied, putrefied flesh. You've probably had worse, but not much worse.
Yeah, I mean he's had raw meat. I mean it's still not pleasant. He probably spits at least once.
Yeah, you spit and you got like a chunk stuck in your teeth. You're picking at it for a minute, but then you spit out this ring and you look at it. It's very plain. It's not fancy. It's not ornate, but this is probably their emergency fund. If things get really bad, they could sell this ring and start a new life. You know, this is probably worth about 10 gold in town. You could sell this, and gold. I mean, that's like 100 silver. This thing is incredibly valuable.
The real question is if they have any other actual silver, and we keep this for ourselves.
Yeah, you were not told to. You know, all you were told to bring back was the silver, and he did say, you find stuff. You're welcome to it. So. And clearly Bill Dowd is dead. Now, one thing that Lathandir suddenly pieces together, so you said that both Bill and Warren have a key. You have never seen them in the same room at the same time. One is outside, the other goes to get him, the other one comes back in, they go out, the other one comes in. You've never seen the two of them together.
Ooh.
Did not notice that.
And with Aliena's clear observation that there's no one in Warren's room, clearly poor Penny is not aware of what's going on.
Oh, the poor lass.
And you recognize that Bill didn't seem to remember the name of the people in town, people that he was friends with his whole life. He didn't recall owing anyone money. You don't know how long he's been here, but it's probably around the time that Bill stopped showing up in Fairview is about the time that he's likely, at least his hand has been lying in this dung heap.
Well.
Kill Bill.
You've still got a few hours before dawn. Anything you want to do, or do you go get a good night's rest before it's a red day tomorrow?
I get as much rest as I can. Do we want to keep watch? Take turns keeping watch?
Gosh, at this point, I would say we risk a problem if we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Lathander will take first watch.
Give me a scouting roll. You watch with great interest of what's going on. and there is no. You expect Bill's going to come out of that house and come murder you all in your sleep, or set fire to the barn, or do something horrible. But the house is quiet and still, and your watch passes uneventfully. After a few hours, you go and wake up the next person. Who do you wake up? The ones that have had the most sleep is probably Stan and Yolver. So, in fact, Stan and Yolver, you've got enough sleep, you can recover any damage that you've taken. I think Yolver's probably the only one that has.
I'll wake up Stan.
Perfect.
Oh.
Stan, if you want to go and keep watch, you can give me a scouting roll.
Certainly.
Do
Nice.
you want to push that to try and get some willpower? But bear in mind, you've done your sleep, so you won't recover this damage if you take any damage.
Well, I don't have a lot of wits, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. During your scouting time, and during this time everyone else can recover all of their damage. During this time, you hear a noise, and it's coming from the same direction that you traveled from, kind of to the southeast. And it sounds like someone walking or stomping around. Do you go and investigate?
Well, if I spend a few moments listening, does the sound seem to be approaching us? So,
It seems to be almost like moving around in a circle. Like it's not getting much closer, not much further. It's like someone is just kind of walking around, in the brush, maybe 75 meters away from you.
it's likely nothing. Probably just a deer.
Just but a wisp of cloud. And
It must have
I'll,
been
Yes, I will make sure I tell the next person on watch
you're
about
the last
it.
watch, so this is you or it's
Oh.
Dawn.
Well, why not? I could go check it out. It could potentially be breakfast, I suppose.
Are you being stealthy?
Yes, I am being stealthy.
Give me a stealth roll.
With
Cautious breakfast.
All three of his dice.
Oh, he got it. Do you
Oh,
want to
wow.
push it to try and get willpower, or are you happy with what you got?
No, and probably not the time for that.
It's dark, but you look over and you see someone wrapped in basically like sackcloth robes, very, very poor old man. And he's just standing outside the farm and looking up at the farmhouse. And he does not seem to be aware of your approach.
Can I get a look at his face, or is it too dark for that?
He's kind of darkened under the cowl of his hood, but every now and then he turns and looks up at the moon, and you see his full face. And it's definitely an older man. He looks like probably some sort of vagrant, or perhaps it could be one of the sects of priests that go about living a poor life to escape the desires of the flesh, and seek rather to starve themselves and take bouts of solitude, and one of those monk sorts maybe. But it could just be a bum that's coming to beg for scraps at the farm.
Stan will, being a little disappointed that it wasn't an animal that he could eat for breakfast.
Well, no one has seen him. You could shoot him and skin him and just lay out some cutlets, and no one would know.
It's true.
Long hog.
This pork is really good.
Stan's not quite that desperate. He will stand up and reveal himself and call out, "Old man, why are you out here at this hour?"
And he flinches. Oh, there you are. Oh, yes. Thank you. And he rushes up and he holds out his hand, and his hand is trembling. Do you shake his hand?
No, I'm going to be more cautious. I'm going to proceed with questioning him. Why are you out here at such an hour as this?
Such an hour. I am Veltast, wandering priest. I come here with a great warning. This house is a den of great evil. Yes, there is one in the house. It is foul, a creature that has slain and will slay again. But there is a way. Yes, there is a way to lay them low, and I know it. I can tell it to you, but only if you help me put this thing down. And this little flute music here is not lending an air of sinister excitement here. Let's go ahead and change
Unless
that.
we're putting it down with music.
Right. We're going to have a dance-off. Show me your moves.
Stan, does he seem to be truthful in this, or does he seem to be like he's trying to deceive me?
That would be an insight roll.
Right, not the best.
Oh.
Hey,
Now, so you got a success. If you push it, you'll still get the success and you'll get 1 willpower, but at the cost of 1 of your 2 insight points.
I'll take my 1 success.
Okay, you take the success. This guy, you're not getting a bad vibe from him. He's a little smelly and a little dirty, but it looks like he's, out here wandering, living off the land. He's not armed. You don't see any sort of weapon. He could be hiding something under his cloak, but there's nothing overtly visible. His breath is rancid. It smells like just putrescence. Really bad breath. This guy, clearly, dental hygiene is not one of the vows he has taken. But he does seem eager, and he seems excited, and his eyes are affixed on that farmhouse.
Well, he seems trustworthy enough. I'll indulge him and ask him what his plan is then.
Well, I will confront the beast that dwells in that house. I will speak his name, which is known only to me and to him. And when I do, I will slit his throat and send him to the hells where he belongs. He kept me prisoner here. I know his evil intent.
Well, surely that will be no simple task. Perhaps I should show you back to where my companions and I have been staying the night, and we can discuss it together.
Oh, yes, please. Take me there at once. You lead him back?
I do, yes.
He crouches down and he's kind of smiling, looking at all of you, but he spends a little bit longer looking at Kirsch and Lathandir. He says, you two, thank you very much. Thank you for your efforts.
Did you run between my legs?
I don't know what you're talking about. And you see a little twinkle in his eye, and then he coughs, and he coughs out a little pale white feather, and he quickly puts it into the inside of his robes, tucks it in there. I have a story I can tell you, but only if you will help me. You see, I came here long ago, and the woman of the house, she keeps a diary, and I read in this book something terrible. I read that the woman had a child, and the child passed away in infancy, and the woman was bereft. And as I read of her sadness, my heart was touched, and I knew that I could help her, that I could ease her suffering and pain, that all I had to do was to take the place of her son, to let her see young Warren again, and oh, the joy that came into her life. But then, that man, I dare not even call him a man, that thing, came and killed Mr. Dowd, and imprisoned me in the cellar. He wished me to starve, but he wears a key around his neck. His name is scribed on the key. I saw it once. I know his name. His kind. That is their weakness, their name. Speak their name, and you shall have power over them. If we get him down on the ground, read that name. I think I know it, but I don't know it of a certainty. But if we can read that name, then he can be slain. And then I will continue to be young Warren for Penny's sake. And she will be at peace, and she will know happiness. She need not know what I am. I only wish to live in harmony. I've lived far too many years in strife. What say you? Will you help an old man?
As unnatural as I find you, I find him even more unnatural.
Oh, I am very much natural. I was here when Rust and Worm and Raven came. I have been here for a very, very long time. I was here before your kind, and I hope to be here long after. But for the next several years, let me bring peace to this woman's heart. I know much of sadness and grief, and I would right some of the wrongs that have been perpetrated by my kind. By him, and he points up at the farmhouse. I'm afraid you've come
let
here
us restore the balance.
You've come here to reclaim silver. She did not give you the silver last night, lest coin flow like blood. Well, today blood shall flow like blood. Shall we go now before he awakens?
We shall reestablish the balance.
Yes.
Let's do it.
And he looks at each of you in turn, wanting you to agree to this plan. If you do not agree, he will not go forward. He looks at Stan. Brave sir, I waited for you in the woods. I thank you for finding me. Will you do this? Do it for Penny.
Aye, you have my sword.
Who has an axe? Eolvor. I heard your snores from miles off. Will you do this as well?
Yes, I'm well rested. I'll do it for you, wise one.
Yes. And you, hairy one. Why, you've got more hair than I do. I have spent time in the guise of your ancestors. And my, it was wonderful to run with the pack, to smell the wind, to chase and hunt, to sleep under the stars, and let our voices ring out into the darkness. Your folk are brave and misunderstood. I understand you. Will you understand me and help me in this?
I feel like Kirsch is very suspicious, but perhaps how this individual presents themselves might be a little bit more concerning than the more obvious and seemingly clear goal before him, and he will don his shield and scimitar, giving his confirmation.
Nice. And last he turns to Eliana, and he holds out his hands to take your hands. Do you take his hands?
I think she'll she's far less creeped out by this guy than she was
Right.
by
Than
the
the
family.
doubts.
Yeah.
He says,
So yeah, she'll let him take her hand.
my dear, I sense a great sadness in you and a hesitation because of what you think is your birthright. But your life, your tale is written by your deeds, not those of your parents or those who might or might not share your blood. Look at me. My kind is greatly misunderstood, yet I have chosen a different path. Let you choose a different path as well and write your own tale. I need your knife. Will you bring your knife to this fight?
She looks a little uncomfortable at the mention of her possible family, and
Yeah, you've not mentioned anything about this.
so she'll just kind of look around to see if anybody else noticed that he said something about her family, and just kind of like try to hope this doesn't ever come up again. And it's like, yeah, that whatever that guy is, he needs to go. He's creeping me out.
He creeps me out as well. He tried to starve me to death, and he should know better. I'm afraid he knows my name. I will be in great danger when we face him. But if we can get his name, then he will die today. And even if I fall, I will go knowing that I have done my utmost to protect Penny. Now, I know his name starts with Camber. I could not see the last part of his name. There are several more letters carved in the key, but I could not read it in time. We must have the whole name, or he cannot be put down. Now, do we take him in his bed, or do we take him face to face?
Face to face.
I'm always one for
Kill him in his sleep.
the silent.
I do not know if we will be successful sneaking up on the creature.
If you could get Penny out, you could just burn the house down, and then Penny's got to find a new place to live. How do you want to go about this?
Elena's gonna say, what if I snuck out of the house? What if I can sneak in and get a look at that key?
Possibility.
Brilliant!
If you could get his name, it will reduce him to where he can be slain easily. If not, I only hope that there are enough of us.
All right. So the way that the house is laid out, the window to, I guess, the master bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
What side of the house is that? And is there like a?
That's on the north
Is
side.
it just drop directly to the ground, or?
Yeah, so it would be, you'd have to scale somehow up on the roof. Now, there is the log pile that's to the side of the house. You could climb the log pile. It's going to be loose. It's going to be challenging. It would be a roll. If you can get up on that, you could potentially leap up and grab the window frame and pull yourself up to the window. That might be if you want to get in through the window, that's probably going to be your best bet.
I was thinking more of if things went wrong to jump out the window.
Yeah, so you could land on the log pile. It'll reduce your fall significantly, but you may still take some damage.
Okay.
Unless these guys haul over a whole bunch of straw and pile it up down there.
Yeah, that risk making too much noise.
Yep. Or just move the dung heap over there.
Oh.
I think Aliena's gonna suggest, okay, so what if I go back in the house and I'll sneak back upstairs and see if I can get a look at that key? And then she'll turn to the old man. She's like, "What? Do we just have to say his name? That's it? Just say his name?"
Speak his name, and he shall fall. It will weaken him significantly. He'll still need to be knifed. I suggest slitting his throat so that he cannot say my name, or I will be powerless as well.
And she's gonna think she's gonna look at everybody and she's just gonna say, it's like, this is the weirdest thing that has ever happened.
Yeah, this kind of stuff doesn't happen in Fairview.
Yeah, so she'll just kind of look at everybody and it's like, what do you guys think? Any other ideas?
The name is important.
So,
If you think you could kill him, I mean, feel free to do so. But I mean, if we have the name and we can all help, it would make it all the easier.
that is very true. What happens if we take the key?
You could also take the key. That would work. Go steal it.
All right.
Gotta say, is stealth one of those skills that can be aided to? It's a tricky one.
Yeah, probably not if she's in the house alone.
Fair point.
Unless you want to make some sort of, distraction. But if he's asleep, that might be your best bet. You'll get a bonus for him being asleep.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it be and let them use their natural skill and advantage for sure.
But what's your plan B for when things go wrong? Just storm in?
I think gathering downstairs, ready to rush to her aid, is going to be about the best thing we can do. Maybe have somebody outside under the window if he jumps the window.
Does someone want to be outside the window?
Well, I imagine nobody.
Right.
You wouldn't want to miss out on the action.
Let's just be downstairs and ready to bum rush that room.
Okay. Let me pull out some tokens here. So Aliena's going to go upstairs. I'm going to move you just kind of up on the map. Yolvor is downstairs, Kirsch is downstairs, Lathendir is downstairs, and Stan is downstairs. Along with Beltast. Upstairs, we've got Penny, and we've got Bill.
Good luck.
All right. So Aliena takes a deep breath.
stealth roll with 1 bonus die.
All right.
Do you have any talents that can help you out here? Actually, I don't recall your talents. I think it's more if you get into a fight.
Yeah, I got Path of the Killer and Knife Fighter.
I mean, an adaptive is good, but I think stealth is one of your best things
Yeah.
here. So I don't think you necessarily want to change out of that unless you want to use manipulation.
Let's see. Ooh,
If you have
how
a
could I
willpower
use...
to use adaptive. So maybe you are making like soft snoring sounds to cover your footsteps.
Oh yeah.
If you want to do that, I would allow that. That's gonna.
Yeah, let's do that.
So it'll cost you your willpower. So the adaptive lets you use a different skill. You just has to fit somehow, be able to make it sound plausible and logical. And I like that idea. So you can burn that willpower and then give me a manipulation roll.
And I get an extra,
And an extra
die?
Yep, and an extra die.
Okay.
As you try to deceive your way upstairs.
And managed to
shit.
roll.
None.
So bad.
You want to push it?
I'm gonna push
on
it.
an A.
I'm pushing.
Perfect. Oh, there you go. So you got a success. You take a damage. You got the willpower from that, but you managed to get up to the top of the stairs. Now you didn't get any additional successes, so that's not going to help you for the next part. You're at the top of the stairs. You're outside the curtain to the master bedroom. The sun will be up shortly. You know the chickens are going to start crowing soon, so time is of the essence.
All right. So I'll keep moving. I'll just use stealth.
Yeah,
I
this
think.
will have to be stealth on this one. And you still get 1 bonus die. So this is inside the room. You can see Penny and Bill in bed, and they are back to back, and there's some distance between them. He's not tried to comfort his poor grieving wife. He's just sleeping. And you can see the key is still around his neck. So you're going to have to get up almost face to face to try and read that key.
It's on a rope, right?
It's on a rope. You could cut the rope.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to cut the rope, like grab the key and cut the rope.
If you get 3 successes, that would be plenty to be able to do this, to be able to sneak up and cut the rope without being detected. No pressure. Well, there's one. Can you get 2 more?
All right, I'm gonna push.
Oh, you did. Nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well done.
So you get right up there and you suddenly stop breathing. You don't want your breath to blow on his face because you are right up to him. And you start to, as you get close, you can smell him. And it smells off. This does not smell like a man. This smells like an animal. There's a musky sort of smell. And you take your blade and you gently ease it under the rope. And the tip is right at his throat. And you turn the blade up and you pinch the rope between your fingers and just gently slide, and your blade begins to saw through, and it takes a few pushes and your heart is just pounding in your chest. But then the rope gives and separates, and you gently thread the key off of the rope. You've got the key in hand. He is still asleep. He stirs a little bit as though he senses maybe your presence unconsciously. You're still there with the knife. Do you do anything, or do you get out of there?
This is like such a good opportunity.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, I think she'll. As if she. She like whisper his name and then would it be Path of the Killer or Knife Fighter that... I think it's Path of the Killer that this...
Let's see, I'll send it to the chat so we can all read it. When you succeed with a sneak attack, you spend willpower to increase damage. Every willpower you spend increases damage by 1. And Knife Fighter, your attack rolls are modified by +1 when you attack with a knife. You know what you need? I think Stan has the one where you can just kill someone in cold blood. I think, yeah, you've got cold-blooded, which you can do a coup de grace without needing to roll dice. Otherwise, you have to fail an empathy roll in order to actually bring yourself to killing a defenseless person.
Right. Even if you know they're not really a person?
I'd probably give some penalty dice, which would be like bonus dice on there to make it easier to fail. Because it just says defenseless enemies.
Right.
And I guess it is just some like random strange old man in the middle of the night just saying that this person's evil and we should kill them.
Go kill that guy.
Yeah. Oh, this is so hard. I think she'll probably just... She'll be tempted, but at the same time, like, this is... I don't know, this is...
Do you look at the name on the key first?
Yes. Yeah, she'll definitely look at the name on the key.
It's Cambersnicht.
Cambersnicht.
That sounds demonic.
Uh-huh.
It's a one-shot. You're not going to collapse the campaign
But
if you fail.
But whatever experience you get from this, you can continue on with this character, in whatever,
Yes.
in my campaign, someone else's, because you will get experience points if you survive.
Oh, yeah.
If you survive.
If I survive. You know what? I'm just going to go for it.
Nice. You're going to come down the stairs wiping off your knife. Well, all done, guys.
That was easy.
All right. How do you do this?
So I think she'll whisper his name and then take her knife and... I mean, she's... Well, with Path of the Killer, she's got to know where the heart is. So she's going to plunge it right into where she thinks his heart is. Or where she knows his heart would be.
Okay. I need... first of all, I need an empathy roll. And take a -2 penalty on that.
Empathy... Is it -2?
Yep.
Okay. Did that do a -2?
I don't think it did. Let's see. If I take off your first 2 dice, it would have been the 3 and the success. So then you would have had a skull, a 2, a 1, and a 3. So I'm going to say that's a success. You failed your empathy roll, so you can do this. You can stab him in the heart.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we'll do. You drive the knife home. Give me an attack roll. You get a +2 bonus because he is essentially prone. Actually, it's a +3 because he's prone and asleep and helpless. So make that knife roll. You can add a... It should ask you if you go to combat and then click on your dagger, it will ask if you want to select Knife Fighter. And go ahead and select that. That adds to your damage. But then Path of the Killer also adds... you can increase the damage by 1 with your willpower, so we will add 1 damage to that.
Okay.
And he cannot dodge or parry this.
Do I add that to the modifier or the...
We'll do it after the fact. We'll add
After?
that damage.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I think
Alright.
if you select the Knife Fighter, I think it adds 1 to the damage. Then we'll just add 1 more.
Yeah, it did. It added the 1. Alright, so pulling.
You got nice 2 successes. Do you want to push it? Every success does additional damage.
Sure.
Nice.
Wow.
So you take 1 point of damage. So that will do 3 damage plus 1. So that's going to be 4 damage. But the first thing you do is you whisper his name. And you lean down, Cambersnicked. And his eyes instantly jerk open. And as they do, you see his form begin to shift and change. And first he begins to melt, almost Terminator 2 style, into a liquid pool. And he takes quickly the form of Warren, of the young boy. And then that begins to shudder and fade. And you see his true form, which is a slimy, gelatinous ooze. And let me give him his 4 points of damage. 3, 4.
That was with the extra one from the willpower, right?
Yeah. So on the chat bar, it shows 3 successes, then it shows 3 damage, and then 1 skull, 1 bane, and then we added 1 more for the spending the willpower, so that will add. So he took 4 total. He is not down, but he is close. He rises up from the bed, and you see his slimy form. You see horns begin to protrude out, and he gets a almost canine face feature. And Penny begins to stir, and she begins to scream, and then she rolls out of bed, and you hear her just wailing on the floor as this is happening. So you two are upstairs. Everybody else is downstairs. Let's roll for initiative. So I'm going to take us into a combat. So you'll draw an initiative card. So if you go to, in the upper right corner, there's 2 crossed swords. And you can click on the hand of cards, and it will draw a card for you. There we go. And, oh, that says build out. Sorry, that shouldn't say build out. That should say Beltast. Yeah, so I duplicated the tokens and forgot to change the token. In fact,
I was like, this just got weirder.
I know, right?
Yeah, let me change that token real quick while I'm thinking about it. It probably won't change it on the combat thing. That should be Beltast. That is not build out.
Okay.
And he is friendly. There we go. And he will go first, so he can hear the sounds coming from upstairs. And he is going to immediately charge up the stairs. To do this in combat, that's going to be a move roll to see if he can get up there. So this is his fast action, is to move, and he's got to push it. He makes it. Takes a little hit, but he stumbles, but he gets up the stairs. So he still has his slow action. Actually, for his slow action, as he runs through the kitchen, he's going to pick up a knife. He's going to pick up a knife, and he runs up the stairs. He is out of actions. Aliena, you've got a fast action and a slow action.
Okay. Well, I guess I will... Let's see, what can I do with my knife?
You can definitely stab him again.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go stabby again with the knife fighter.
Nice. Oh.
Nice.
So that's going to do 3 damage. If you use the knife fighter, or is that the one that adds the point of damage?
No, that was Path of the Killer, and that has to be a sneak attack. So.
Oh, right. So he'll take 2 damage.
Yep.
Perfect. He is badly wounded. Do you want to retain your fast action in case you need to parry or dodge?
Yes.
Okay. Kirsch, you're up next. It'll be a move roll to get up the stairs.
All right, which he will definitely attempt to do.
Okay. Oh, you got it.
Cool.
Just based on your skill, your attribute didn't help you, but your skill in climbing and running did, and you make it up the stairs. That is your fast action, and so now you still have a slow action, which could be to attack if you want to attack Camber Snicked with your scimitar.
Yes, I do believe in this particular instance he will attempt to do so. Clickety-click. Cool. And on the scimitar. Aha. I know, right?
You want to push that?
Yes, I do believe in this particular instance he would risk the situation to attempt to push.
Oh,
Nice. Camber Snick has to try to do something here. He has to try to dodge this. And let's see. I believe dodge is a move roll.
Oh!
Wow.
Nope. Okay. How do you kill Camber Snicked with your scimitar?
My goodness. So I feel like it would probably end up being an attempt to like slit his throat because the guy suggested it, but probably ends up as like a semi-gelatinous decapitation.
Yeah, it's like cutting through hot pig lard, and it hacks through. There's a squooshing sound. I mean, who hasn't done that? We all know what that sounds like. The head just drops off, and you see the head beginning to go through 30 different forms. These are forms that Camber Snicked has adopted in his lifetime. There are old men, there's old women, there's children. You see Warren again. You see animals. You see a deer. You see a bird. You see a species that you've never seen before. This is an extinct animal. You've never seen this, but there's legends of these creatures. And Camber Snicked must have taken one of these at one point in his life. Veltast, who is standing at the top of the stairs, looks at him and says, "Ha! Now the shoe is on the other foot." And he says, "Burn his body as quick as we can." And he quickly changes into the form of Warren, of the boy, and rushes over to Penny and says, Mother, I'm here. It's over. We're safe." And just holds her. And he turns and looks at you and looks at the mess on the floor and kind of nods his head like, "Get it out of here."
I guess we find a way to transport it then.
Yeah, how do you get this? Someone dumped a Jello mold onto the floor. How are you gonna get this?
I think Aliena will run into the other room and grab a blanket.
Do you take one off of Warren's bed, the one's covered in dust, the little baby's bed?
No, I'll run into the guest bedroom
Perfect.
and grab that blanket.
You grab the blanket, you begin to just kind of scoop and mop and slop it all up. And eventually you've got about an 80-pound bag of sludge wrapped up in this blanket. The blanket is soaking through. You drag it down the stairs. It squelches and slops as you go down the stairs, and you get it outside into the yard. And there is a small area where it looks like they have used as a fire pit. There's stones and ashes in there, and you get a fire lit and begin to render Camber Snicked into vapor and ash. And it takes a better part of the morning to get this done as it bubbles and seethes away, but the flames are enduring and they melt through his form. Eventually Penny comes down and she is still sobbing, but she looks kind of confused. She's like, "What? Darn that Bill. He ran off. I had the worst, terrible nightmare, but Warren, will you go and fetch your pa? And he looks up at her and says, Pa's gone, Ma. You know this. It's just me. You and me. You and me now. And she strokes his hair and says, Yes, Warren. We'll be just fine. And she reaches into a small pouch that she's got next to the bed and pulls out 10 silver coins. And these are very tarnished. They've probably been buried somewhere. Pulls them out and hands them to Aliena and says, We wish to pay our debts. Tell Ben we're awfully sorry, and if he'll still sell to us, we will have need. Young Warren and I will make the trip in a few weeks' time once we get this house cleaned up, and we'll bring our apologies to the rest of the town. Will you take this to him and see that our debts are paid?
Aliena will nod her head and put the coins in her pouch. Yeah. We'll make sure that Ben gets this. We're sorry for the trouble.
Warren, we must get them breakfast. They've a long journey ahead of them. And her and Warren go about fetching breakfast, and you notice that there is a palpable sense of relief on her face. And she continues to look at her son and beam, and he looks at you and smiles. And as they bring you the breakfast, he says, My friends, please do not tell anyone of my true nature. Let me give her a life full of joy. And when she is gone, I will bury her and I will move on. We will cause no trouble. I am not like the other. I only wish peace for me and my mother.
What are you?
I am like he. I am a strange creature in your eyes, but you are strange to me. We are creatures made of the primordial essence of this planet. We can assume the shape of those we interact with. And he smiles, and you see his face quickly change to that of Eolver. And the next words he says sounds like Eolver. We're not all bad, you see. And then his face changes back to Warren's face. We don't need to harm those who we copy. We just need to see them and interact with them. It helps if we touch them. And then his face turns into that of Aliena. But some of my kind, well, they think they need the blood. But there are those of us who are wise enough to see a better way, a more peaceful way. Why can we not live in harmony? And the face changes back to that of Warren. I will tell you my name in a show of goodwill, that you may know that I will treat her right. I will give this to you if you need it in order to believe me when I say that I only want peace. But understand that in doing so, I put myself at great risk.
No need.
Thank you.
I feel I am safer without it.
I am much safer without it being in your hands. One day I may tell her, but it will be on her last day. I will tell her the truth, only when she is ready. And if she is not ready, I will let her pass from this life with blissful ignorance, which is more than most of us ever get. Now you must get back to town. We will visit you in a few weeks' time. Thank you for your help. That cellar was nearly the death of me.
Well, I mean, how did you get Gwendolyn then?
Well, she came a little close, and I managed to dig a small hole and reached my arm through in the guise of a snake. And I took poor Gwendolyn, piece by piece, down into the cellar. She saved my life, although it cost my mother dearly. But now I will save hers.
Okay. Well, at least she died for a good cause.
She did. She kept me alive. Old Bill Dowd, he did not die for a good cause. No, Kemmersnicht came in the guise of a traveler. Told him he needed water and food, and he would pay for it. And Bill followed him outside, and he was slain, thrown into the dung heap. I was imprisoned shortly thereafter. I saw it all, and that's the reason he threw me in there.
Well, that's a shame.
Life is a shame. There are opportunities that we miss, and others that come within our reach, and if we but extend our hand, as I did to Gwendolyn, our life may change. Sorry about running through your legs. And he smiles at Kirsch. I won't do that again.
Let us just be glad I did not eat you then.
I am. I'm glad you don't enjoy the taste of rat. And as you head back to Fairview, we don't need to do the journey. It's relatively uneventful. You arrive at nighttime.
You said we could fill up with water, right?
Oh, yes. So you can, in fact,
Yeah.
and they will give you some stores. He says you've earned it, and he shows you in the garden there's some root vegetables that he digs up, some carrots and a few turnips and a beet, and hands them to you if you need the food for the way back. But for sure, the well has clean water. And he refills your water, so all your waters can go up to D12.
Nice.
When we leave and we say goodbye, I will give Penny another sack of jerky,
Oh, nice.
and I will shake her hand and slip her Bill's ring.
Ooh, I was wondering if you were going to do that. And she looks at that and says, "My husband had a ring just like that."
I believe it is his.
Oh, then you found him. He wandered off one day, and well, the rest is a haze. I don't think that was him that came back to me. It was a dream, right?
I think it was, and I think Bill is at rest.
Ah, thank you. This may be our salvation. And she slides the ring on her finger. It's much too large, but she feels comforted by having it there. As you make it back to town, let me put... we can do experience points this way. I'll pull up the party. And end of session XP. So, there's a questionnaire in Forbidden Lands, and you answer the question. So, did you participate in the game session? Everyone did. Did you discover a new adventure site? This wasn't really a site. This was just a farmhouse. Did you find a treasure? You did, even though you gave it back. Did anyone activate their pride? That didn't come up. So you can activate your pride. If you fail a roll, you get to roll a d12. And if you still fail the roll, you lose your pride. So no one activated their pride. Risk your life for another PC. I'm gonna do /NPC. Absolutely, Eliana did. We'll get back to that. Travel. So we'll do the ones that everybody got. Travel through at least one new hex. Yep. Defeat one or more monsters. Yep. Didn't do anything with strongholds. Suffered from their dark secrets. Some of you did. So we'll do that individually. Perform an extraordinary action. We'll maybe get to that individually as well. So I'm going to add, 4 experience points to everybody. Let's do some more XP. So let's do for Wasteland Sniper for Mary. You did risk your life by going in and going after Cambersnicht, and I think that was an extraordinary action as well. What would you say? I don't know that you suffered from. Well, actually, you did suffer from your dark secret because it was.
Huh?
I think your dark secret was uncomfortable for you when it was mentioned. So I'm going to give you a point for that.
Okay, cool.
And then let's do for. Would you think anyone else risked their life for another PC? I don't know about that. How about...
It's a bit of a stretch, but Stan did go investigate the disturbance in the woods while he was on lookout.
I'm going to say that's an extraordinary action, because for all you know, that could have been Cambersnicht out there. Did you suffer from your dark secret?
At the very beginning, I think Stan did. The very beginning of the adventure.
Oh yes, and so did Kirsch. And what about Eolvor and Lathandir? Did you suffer from your dark secrets?
No.
No, I'm not. I'm going to say no.
Okay. Then Henry.
I have a thing about goblins, but I let them go.
Yeah,
so.
and I think had you attacked, and you kind of hinted around it like, oh, goblins, like I would not. Well, you wouldn't go and talk with them.
But I do have to say, Kirsch did protect me. It turned out to be nothing, but he protected me in the root cellar.
Oh, true.
And it does tie to his pride, although had I failed that initial attack roll, I definitely would have pulled on that pride, but it did not come to that.
Yeah. He carried me out.
Awesome. Well, then everyone should have XP on there. If you want to spend XP now, you can. I forget what the costs are. I can look it up real quick. Oops, let me grab the right book. And by the way, the Forbidden Lands books are absolutely beautiful. They're so cool.
Yes.
That was what drew me to the game in the first place.
I agree with that.
Old school.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just got the Book of Beasts, and unbelievable.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did the Kickstarter, and yeah, it's just beautiful through and through.
So you can increase a skill level by 1 step. This costs a number of XP equal to the skill level you want to attain, multiplied by 5. For example, to go to skill level 1 would cost 5, to skill level 2 would cost 10, skill level 3 would cost 15. And then you must have either used that skill and succeeded during the session or be instructed by a teacher. So that's if you want to take one from 0 to 1. If you want to learn a talent, to increase your rank in a talent, it costs a number of XP equal to the rank multiplied by 3. So to go from rank 1 to rank 2 would cost 6 XP. To learn a new talent at rank 1 would cost 3 XP and a successful wits roll. If you fail, you keep the XP and you can try again another time. And then to develop magical talents, you need a willing teacher with a higher rank. Without it, then the cost is tripled. So those of you that might, or especially those of you that made characters, if you want to spend any XP now, you're more than welcome to, or you're welcome to do it another
Question.
time. Yes.
So I know if we're looking at talents that we don't have at all, but we would like to learn. Well, so, because I'm kind of thinking cold-blooded would be good for my
That would be,
character.
especially after your experience. I think absolutely. So that would just cost you 3 XP, and with your wits roll, I would give you a bonus die on that.
Okay.
So if you want to try that. And if you don't make it, you just get to try again. Honestly, I think because of the experience you had, I might just let you do it. Just because you did a trial by fire there.
Okay.
So if you want to just pick up cold-blooded, I can drag that onto your character sheet.
Okay.
Talents.
So then I drop down to 4 experience.
Yep. There. Now you have cold-blooded. Anyone else want to pick up a talent, or you just hang on to the XP? I will save all these characters, so if we ever game again, you can use them again.
Yeah, I'm contemplating talents for Kirsch, given the circumstances. Either that or probably increasing a rank in one of his other talents.
Ooh, I might want to pick up Executioner at some point.
Oh man, things got dark with Mary all of a sudden.
Well, she is Path of the Killer,
That's
so...
true. That's true.
She's putting it to true use now.
Right?
I never thought of myself as a min-maxer, but apparently I am.
I think you just discovered killing and you really liked it.
Oh, yeah.
I've never played a rogue before, so this was fun.
Oh yeah, that was super fun. Anyone else want to contemplating anything? Want to spend any points, or just Kirsch looking at stuff?
I'm gonna hold on to it.
Okay. And then Luke or Henrik, anything you want to do with yours?
No, I'm gonna hold on to mine.
Okay. And then
Yeah, I think I'll think about it for a while and just hold on to it for now.
Okay, so I will save these characters. Tim, I don't know if you know, I've been recording the session. So I record all of our sessions, and I can post them on YouTube if you want to go back and watch it.
Cool.
So I'm going to stop the recording here in just a second and get it posted. I'll have that up tonight. Thankfully, I only had the technical difficulties at the very beginning. The other day, we were like 2 hours into a game, and my power went out. And thankfully, it came back within like 5 minutes. But I'm like, oh, shoot. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Did you guys have fun tonight? I had a blast. I love this game. It's super fun. I think if you dig like the whole Year Zero engine, it's fun. And that Foundry makes it so much easier because it does all the math for you, so you don't have to calculate like, how many dice do I got to pick up.
Yes,
I really like that. It was really cool. And you guys like totally slaughtered the monster, and that thing had some awesome abilities. But because you had the name, that made it significantly weaker. So. Fantastic.
It's always helpful. Yeah, I was ready with Kirsch to just kind of dive in there and take some hits.
Right? Oh, it was coming. Awesome. Well, I'm going to...
Do you have any... so I know... I forget what it's called, but would you ever consider running the campaign, the Ravens...
The Raven's Purge? Yeah, so I have 3 campaigns. I've got the Raven's Purge, the Bitter Reach, and the Blood March. And then I've got a ton of, like... so I have all the actual Free League books, like the Spire of Quetzal and all of that stuff, and then a bunch of third-party things. I mean, one-shots are fun, but campaigns are awesome too. So I set up another one-shot, or at least like a multi-session adventure. But I would be open to doing one of the campaigns. Most people do Raven's Purge, which is good because it's a good one, but everyone's kind of done it. So it'd be nice to do like the Blood March or even Bitter Reach would be fun. But there's also so much modularity, like because you put the adventure sites wherever you want, and you kind of change them up and do whatever. So I would definitely be open to doing a campaign in Forbidden Lands. I think it's a fun system, and really enjoyed it. Like I think this really lended a great story for us, and we didn't get caught in the mechanics of how do I do what I do. And it was hilarious as we're trying to get willpower points, and we had joked about how he just like succeeded the whole time, and then like we can't get the spellcasters to get any willpower points, and then they didn't use them at all. So that was the best part. They weren't even needed. So but yeah, I would definitely be up to doing some more Forbidden Lands. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'll get the video uploaded later tonight, and I want to thank you all for playing. I had so much fun. I've played with everyone except for Tim. This was my first time. I hope this isn't my last time. I hope to get to play with you again. I run a ton of games, a lot of Dragonbane. I probably run more Dragonbane on Start Playing than anybody else, like especially one-shots. Everyone does Secret of the Dragon Emperor, but like I do so many one-shots that it's fun. And then I do some campaigns as well, Creeping Darkness and Path of Glory and Secret of the Dragon Emperor. And, I do, like, we just did a Traveler game. I do Vaesen, which is another Free League game. Blade Runner, which is Free League, The One Ring, which is Free League, Call of Cthulhu.
Lots of Free League.
Oh, lots of Free League. Call of Cthulhu, Mothership, lots of good stuff. So hopefully we can get you into another game soon, whenever it works with your schedule. So
I know, I'm hoping so too. Definitely more Forbidden Lands if I can fit it in.
yeah, I'll definitely get some more stuff going for Forbidden Lands because this was a ton of fun. I've wanted to play this for like, well, how long's the game been out? Like 9 years, 10 years?
Yeah, long, too long for me to not have played in a session all this time.
And like I've owned all the stuff and just have never played. I'm like, oh, I just want to play.
Yep.
And it gets to the point where it's like, well, if I want to play it, I'm gonna have to run it because no one else is gonna run it for me. And it was fun. I loved it. So definitely look forward to doing that again.